Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm your host, FD for Sage5.tv, and today let's talk about DeFi. And alongside that, we are going to give you guys some examples with practical implications. Here, I'm talking of projects that I actually hold and give you some examples of some of the key players within the DeFi space. We know cryptocurrency is quite wide, covers a whole lot of different categories or use cases. But today in this video, we just want to focus on DeFi and give you guys some ideas on the key components, how DeFi works, for those who are not sure how it works, and what exactly is DeFi, which projects fall under DeFi. I mean, DeFi stands for decentralized finance, right? Anyway, but before I jump into this video, guys, please note that I am not a financial advisor. If you do require financial advice, please approach someone who's trying to give you financial advice. The information contained within this video is just for educational as well as entertainment purposes, and this content is also not targeted at UK audiences for the sole reason that the authorities do deem anything crypto related to be extremely risky. Therefore, you should not be watching any of this content or anything crypto related in case you end up losing your funds. That said, guys, let's come back to the subject matter, which is decentralized finance. What is it? What are some of the practical examples? Which projects do I hold that fall within this category? And believe me, DeFi is going to have its day in the sun, and it's coming, especially with institutions and countries and businesses now looking at crypto as a way to join the next financial revolution. This is it, guys. Don't sleep on DeFi. But then DeFi covers a wide breadth of crypto assets and applications, so we'll try and narrow it down for you guys if you're not sure what DeFi is. So DeFi, or decentralized finance, is an innovative segment within the cryptocurrency space aimed at creating an open source, permissionless financial ecosystem without relying on traditional banks, brokers, or other centralized financial institutions. You get that? Decentralized does not involve banks, does not involve any other centralized institutions or a broker. That's what DeFi is. DeFi platforms leverage blockchain technology, smart contracts, and tokenization to create an alternative financial ecosystem that operates without intermediaries, allowing users to lend, borrow, trade, and invest directly with one another in a peer-to-peer or P2P fashion. In this video, I'm going to try and give you guys an in-depth look at how DeFi works and some of its key components. And without wasting any time, let's start with the core components of DeFi. The first one is obvious, which is blockchain technology. DeFi primarily operates on public blockchains, most notably on Ethereum, although other chains like Binance Smart Chain, Solana, Polkadot, Cardano, Cosmos Network or Cosmos Ecosystem, Avalanche, Sui, Aptos, Injective, all those are part of blockchain technology. Blockchains provide a transparent, secure, and immutable ledger where transactions are recorded. The other key component for DeFi is smart contracts. You need smart contracts in DeFi. Smart contracts are self-executing agreements with terms written in code, computer code, and for those who are in the know, code is law, right? There you go. Smart contracts automate processes within DeFi applications, for example, lending and borrowing, and they eliminate the need for intermediaries, enforcing terms and executing transactions automatically when conditions are met. So you don't need to negotiate with anybody. Everything is automatic and there is no trust involved in it. It's all trustless. The next component is cryptographic tokens or assets. DeFi platforms rely on cryptocurrencies and other tokenized assets to facilitate transactions. Tokens are often used according to the ERC20 standard if you're on Ethereum, and any other standard if you're on other blockchains, representing everything from traditional assets like the US dollar through stable coins to unique digital native assets like NFTs and so forth. So how does DeFi work? The core mechanism. We covered core components. Let's look at the core mechanisms for DeFi. DeFi's functionality is built on decentralized applications or dApps that offer financial services directly to users. The major functionalities include lending and borrowing, trading, yield farming, and decentralized exchanges or DEXs. Let's start with lending and borrowing then on the core mechanisms and strictly focusing on the mechanism behind the borrowing and lending. DeFi platforms such as AAVE, Compound, MakerDAO, Lenfi on Cardano, and KMNO Finance on Solana all allow users to lend and borrow cryptocurrencies. Lenders deposit funds into a smart contract, making them available for borrowers who pay interest. The other core mechanism of lending and borrowing is collateralization. Borrowers here must usually provide collateral in the form of cryptocurrencies to secure loans. Due to the volatility of crypto assets, most loans are over-collateralized, meaning the borrower needs to deposit more value than they borrow to secure the loan. So over-collateralization means you borrow less than you put in as your collateral. And then obviously we don't ignore the interest rates for both the lender and the borrower. Interest rates are algorithmically determined based on supply and demand within the platform. Lenders earn interest and borrowers pay interest, creating a decentralized lending market without banks. As you can see, no intermediary involved. Moving on, decentralized exchanges or DEXs. The mechanism behind them, unlike traditional exchanges, DEXs like Uniswap, SushiSwap, Curve, Citus Protocol Sundaeswap on Cardano, as well as Minswap on Cardano, and Aerodrome on Base. They all operate without intermediaries. They use smart contracts to facilitate peer-to-peer trading directly to the blockchain. Next, automated market makers or AMMs. DEXs rely on automated market makers such as automated market maker protocols such as Raydium on Solana, and Raydium is ripping at the moment on Solana to determine asset prices and liquidity. Liquidity providers deposit funds into pools, allowing traders to swap tokens based on the pool's ratio of assets, which automatically adjust to reflect demand. And finally, we've got fees and incentives. Liquidity providers earn fees from trades made within the pool, incentivizing them to deposit assets. This structure creates liquidity for users without a centralized market maker. Now, another core mechanism for DeFi is stablecoin. You need something stable, right? You don't want to be lending your assets or borrowing assets that are always fluctuating in value sometimes. Stablecoins are cryptocurrencies pegged to stable assets like the US dollar. For example, you got USDT, Tether, USDC, which is SECO, or DAI. They provide stability in a volatile market and are often used in DeFi applications as a stable store of value, unit of account, and medium of exchange. There are different types of stablecoins. Stablecoins can be asset-backed, collateralized by fiat, crypto, or commodities, or algorithmic, using smart contracts to stabilize value based on supply and demand mechanics. Another core mechanism for DeFi is yield farming and liquidity mining. Yield farming involves providing liquidity or staking assets on DeFi platforms in exchange for returns, often in the form of interest or token. In liquidity mining, users earn additional rewards for providing liquidity on specific DeFi platforms, but there are also incentives and risks involved in liquidity mining. DeFi projects often incentivize liquidity provision by distributing governance token or platform tokens, which can be traded or reinvested. Yield farmers need to manage risks like impermanent loss, where the value of staked assets can fluctuate based on market prices. Now that we've covered the core mechanics of how DeFi works, let's move on to governance and decentralization. Many DeFi protocols are governed by their communities through governance tokens. Holders of these tokens can vote on key decisions such as changes to the protocol's functionality, interest rates, and other updates. Notable examples include Compound's COM token, Uniswap's Uni token, again, Lenfi token on Cardano, Arbitrum's AAVE token, Sundaeswap's SUNDAE token, also on Cardano. And in addition to governance, we also have decentralized autonomous organizations, or DAOs. Governance tokens often operate within DAOs, which are decentralized organizations where token holders participate in protocol decision making. DAOs allow the community to govern the protocol democratically, so everyone who holds a governance token has got an equally viable right to participate within the democratic process of a decentralized autonomous organization. Now, let's look at some of the key benefits of DeFi. The first one though, now this is where it gets more serious, because sometimes when we throw these terms around, DeFi, decentralized finance, we don't actually understand some of the practical implications of these terms and this concept of DeFi, as well as this technology, cryptocurrency and blockchain combined. The first key benefit of DeFi is financial inclusion. DeFi opens up access to financial services for anyone with an internet connection, eliminating the barriers associated with traditional banking. For example, location, credit history. So if you got poor credit history, DeFi doesn't exclude you from the process. If you live in a poor country, this is not a brick and mortar infrastructure, so you can participate in a project that is based, say, in Brazil and you live in Eastern Asia, okay? Or you live in Africa, you can participate in financial institutions in the center of London. That's how this works, instead of having these geographically imposed barriers. We also have transparency and control. Users retain full control over their assets as transactions are transparent, and funds can be managed directly from wallets without requiring a custodian. This is why self-custodial wallets are very important, especially hardware wallets if you can afford them. The next benefit is that of programmability and innovation. DeFi enables programmable finance, allowing for the creation of customized financial products that can interact seamlessly within an ecosystem. This feature has spurred innovative developments like flash loans. Here, flash loans involve instant collateral-free loans that must be repaid within the same transaction, as well as synthetic assets. Here, synthetic assets are tokenized representations of real-world assets. So, those are the benefits of DeFi, or the key benefits of DeFi. I'm sure there are a lot more. What are the risks involved when someone is participating within DeFi? What are the challenges we are looking at here? The first one concerns smart contract vulnerability. Smart contracts are prone to bugs or exploits, and any security flaw can lead to significant losses. Unfortunately, there are some people who are just waiting to identify a flaw. So, in this world we live in, you've got people who break in people's houses, you've got people who fiddle books to steal from their employers or from other people. In DeFi and cryptocurrencies and blockchain, you've got people, they are good, but they are deploying their excuse for nefarious means or Pepsi. They want to break into smart contracts, or they want to exploit smart contracts in order to steal people's funds. The next risk centers around regulation. DeFi operates outside of traditional regulatory frameworks, and there is increasing regulatory scrutiny due to concerns about investor protection, money laundering, and compliance with financial laws. I know there's a lot to be said about the compliance with financial laws as well, because some of these are meant for gatekeeping. They are not for the benefit of the person on the street. The next challenge or risk centers around market and liquidity. DeFi is highly volatile, and rapid changes in asset prices can lead to collateral liquidations, impairment loss, or loss of funds in low liquidity assets. And finally, we have scalability and high fees. Finally, Ethereum enters the room. Most DeFi applications on Ethereum face issues with scalability and high gas fees, but I think ETH is trying to deal with that now with this cluster and plethora of layer 2s. These high gas fees make transactions expensive for small investors. For example, during the last bull run, if you wanted to move $10, sometimes you were paying $45 or $50 just to move that $10, which is bonkers. But emerging blockchains and layer 2 solutions are being developed to address this issue. Solana, it's a fraction of a penny. Avalanche, same thing. The likes of Cardano, while it's not a fraction of a penny, it's still extremely cheap. Sui, same thing. So there are plenty more options out there now. So what are the future trends in DeFi? The first one that we need to pay attention to, interoperability. So any project that is all about interoperability or is designed for interoperability is something to pay attention to. Cross-chain bridges and interoperability protocols are expanding DeFi across different blockchains, allowing users to move assets seamlessly between platforms like Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and many others. Examples of interoperability protocols include the likes of Layer 0 and the ZIO token, Axelar and the AXL token, Wemo and the W token, and many others. There are also Layer 2s that are trying to scale or that are actually scaling Ethereum. Solutions like Optimistic Rollups, ZK Rollups aim to address scalability challenges by enabling faster and cheaper transactions. Think of the likes of Arbitrum and Optimistic Rollup, and Optimism with its OP token, also have Scroll and many others. The other area that the future of DeFi is going to absorb or assimilate is real-world asset, tokenization of real-world assets. DeFi is beginning to integrate tokenized real-world assets such as real estate or stocks, allowing users to leverage traditional asset exposure within a decentralized environment. And finally, institutional involvement going to determine and or define the future of DeFi and DeFi trends. More institutions are exploring DeFi for yield and transparency, although the entry of regulated entities may influence DeFi space with new compliance requirements. So if you look at something like Ondo, it's not a project that I would go in as my first choice if I were going to DeFi. But because BlackRock is involved in that, there are a whole lot of regulations and stipulations around the Ondo platform and the Ondo token itself. So more institutions means more compliance, unfortunately, and more regulations, and probably KYC as well. So that is something to pay attention to if we are looking at the future of DeFi and future DeFi trends. So all that said, guys, DeFi has introduced a radical shift in finance, offering an open and permissionless financial ecosystem. However, its success relies on overcoming challenges related to security, regulations, scalability, and user experience. Having said all that, it's got to be stated that DeFi has introduced a radical shift in finance, offering an open and permissionless financial ecosystem. However, its success relies on overcoming challenges related to security, regulations, scalability, and user experience. With continued development, DeFi has the potential to evolve from a high-risk, high-reward segment into a more mature financial system that can coexist with and complement traditional finance. I don't know if I like the idea of low risk, low reward. I'm not sure I like that. We're spoiled in DeFi. It's high risk and high reward. That's what it should remain as. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on what's happening with DeFi, where I see DeFi heading, and I've also shared an example of some of the projects that I think you should be paying attention to if you are really serious about DeFi. Of course, there are many more, some of which I do hold and others I don't hold. But in this video, I only had to highlight a few or a handful, and I've highlighted some that I own, some I don't own. For example, I don't own Uniswap and I don't own Compound, but the Layer Zeros, the Axelars, the Wormholes, bit of Arbitrum, Lenfi, and so forth. I do own some of those and some of the CETAS protocol, Sundaeswap and Minswap. Those tokens I do own within my private as well as our 2 crypto public portfolios. Any thoughts, guys? I would like to know from you what your thoughts are as far as DeFi is concerned, and which project you hold within the DeFi category and which ones you think are going to do well. For me, the one I'm going to identify here now, I think there is a project on the Cardano blockchain that is going to do really well, but it's going to depend on whether we get more traction and more traffic and Cardano gets more adopted. It's is Lenfi. That's one to watch. Let's save this discussion again towards the end of this bull market or in a bear market for what it's worth. I think Lenfi is extremely undervalued in my opinion. Of course, I would say that because I hold it. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section. Until the next one, this is FD for Sage5.tv signing out for now. Bye.